so today's the big day. We're putting in the new MaXpeedingRods coilovers. Those are them right here. Rear ones in the middle, front ones on the side, and we've taken out all the interior liner in the trunk so we can get to the struts on either side. We also sprayed some lubricant on all the bolts and everything we're going to be taking off. We did that from side to side, front to rear, and so now we can get started on it. Alright, so new string of problems now. We got these off, which were a pain in the ass. This one came off easy. This front one here, and same with this one. Came off easy, no problem. One behind it, pain in the ass. One behind this one, pain in the ass as well. Even after spraying it with some of that. It's been a few hours, and that's about all we've accomplished because we started trying to do the backs here, and one of the bolts had completely snapped off. So, not going great. Now we have to find a way to try and cut the strut out and get the remainder of that out. So yeah, now we might just move on to the fronts.
Cotter pin. Another thing I found slightly different here. Why don't you see if there's a special tie rod end for these struts? Because the hole where the tie rod end goes is too small compared to stock.
It says maybe run the stock tie rod inverted because the hole is tapered upside down.
Oh, really? Oh, okay. Yeah, if it's just invert the tie rod in, then we can do this side too. Yeah, it might do the job. The rod is straight again now. Yeah, these were lower down on the other one. That's why it went from the top down. Uh-oh. We've adjusted it, but the tie rod has let go of the end. But why has it popped out? Now, do we need bigger tie rod ends with a longer shaft? The only other thing I can do here would be to come over with my little angle grinder cutter and try and cut that boss. Cut it across here and across over here so the top part of the loop stays with the shock, because we don't want to be heating up the fluid in there when we cut it. And then theoretically the top will be let go of the bottom, and then the bushings that are seized to the center we'll be able to deal with in another way. Might be able to just heat it up once we get the bottom part of the shock out of the damn way. What I need to do is I got to get on the end of that and drive the bolt out, because it seems to be turning. The whole bushing inside is turning. I'm gonna have to come over with my, get a hacksaw. I got lots of hacksaw blades. I'll come up with some, and I'll have to cut the bolt. These bolts are the right size for the lower control arm, but they're too big for the shock. It's always something, eh? Okay. Look at that, eh? Bolt goes right through now.
Alright, well, just in case you missed anything that we had trouble with throughout the video, here's a quick recap. So first off, the head snapped off one of the bolts holding our stock rear struts to the car, so we had to cut that out. And then on the other side, we torched it and everything started spinning. It sort of came loose, but it wouldn't really come undone, so we had to cut out that side as well. And then the replacement bolts then that hold the bottom of the struts to the lower control arms were the right size for the control arms, but too big for the new struts, so we had to bore out the holes larger in the bottom of our new struts. Then on the fronts, our tie rod ends had to be run inverted in order to work with the new struts, although the stock ones were too short, so we had to order some extended tie rod ends, and those actually ended up being too long, so we had to shave those down some more as well. I wouldn't exactly go ahead and blame all of this on MaXpeedingRods though. A lot of this does actually just come with the territory, and no car really has a flawless, without incident installation of these kinds of parts. Something always goes wrong, no matter what car you have, no matter what company you're dealing with. These are just the things that happen, and I hope to help some people out by, letting them know what happened to us and what we did to counteract it, so that when you encounter it, you know what to do. So all in all, I think the MaXpeedingRods coilovers are a good value, and would I recommend them? Well, seeing as they're priced relatively similarly to what OEM strut replacements would be, heck, why not? If you want your car a little lower, sure, go ahead. It's the cheapest way to lower your car without going ahead and getting yourself some shocks and your lowered springs separately and then putting it all together. You're gonna end up being about like $1,000 or more, which is typically what a good set of coilovers costs anyways, but this is a lot cheaper. The ones that I got in particular were about 450 bucks Canadian roughly, which is not a bad deal. So if you can get your hands on them for that, sure, go ahead. We also are running full bolt-ons now, so we have a short ram intake. We have catless 4-to-1 race headers, a 2.5-inch stainless steel Yonaka exhaust. We replaced the alternator and power steering belts, and we also replaced the transmission oil. The transmission oil probably hadn't been replaced in the entire life of the car. It's definitely a possibility. So 200,000 kilometers into it, we thought it would be a good idea, so we went ahead and did that as well. Clutch is in, we're in neutral, start her up. Alright, and there she she is. It's been a few months since the install of the coils, obviously. That footage is a little old. Just haven't taken to getting it edited until now. Car's not clean, hasn't been washed in a while, but there's numerous things we've been doing on the car. Obviously, the ride height is pretty much within about 1/8 of an inch around on all sides, although that's obviously going to change when we're finished with the sound system that we're also doing. Got a big custom enclosure and a 12-inch sub that's going to be going in the trunk, so that's going to weigh it down a bit more. We're going to need to lift the rear some more. What else have we been doing? Door panels are out. Lots of sound deadening in the doors. Some Amplifier Pro. That'll probably be in the next video, the installation of that. Also some sound dampening, just some foamy stuff behind the driver. So far it's been doing fine. Ran speaker wire through all the boots on the doors on either side. We made some custom pillar pods to fit our mid-range. Ran wiring for our amplifier up through to the battery. It's going through a hole in the firewall that was there. This little blue cable goes into the receiver. Just pretty much just tells everything when to turn on and when to turn off. We have our Alpine R A90S amplifier back there, along with our Dayton Audio DSP. We're running both active and passive crossovers. So what we have is we have passive crossovers to the woofers on either door, not allowing anything above 500 hertz to be playing. And then we're using a bandpass setting on the amplifier to not allow anything below 400 hertz and above 6 kilohertz to play through the mid-ranges on our pillars here. And then to our tweeters, they're going to be playing everything from the 6 kilohertz range all the way to 20 kilohertz, or well, however far they will reach. So the amp isn't quite finished being wired in, and obviously the speakers aren't wired in yet, so everything's still running off the receiver right now. But I think I could give a quick demo. Sure, let's do that. All right, just to preface all this again, only running off the receiver, mid-ranges aren't hooked up yet, so this is just the woofers and the doors and the tweeters and the 6x9s on the rear deck. But let's give it a shot. This is some Conway the Machine. Let's see what we can get out of it.
GXF to the death, nigga, felt, but now I never suicide. Shit for life, homie. That's my lie. Low. Baby mama think I'm nuts. Ever since them niggas shot me, I just stopped giving a fuck. 60 on the digi dash, look how fast my car goes. My bars, I shoot and snort a few grams, kick his dog for the yen. While I'm smoking kush with a bitch, I just imported from France. I get the trip and get the blick in this AR.